a little mishap there with the size of the logo because I changed my whole formatting on how the streams are happening with the new camera and stuff. And yeah, hold on. What's going on? Nothing's working. Pause. That's why. Hold on. I'll fix it. I'll fix it. I'll fix the buffering. It'll be fine in a second. Give it a second. I fixed it. I'll fix it. If it still has any issues, refresh, but it should all be fine now. Lagged quite a bit there. Yeah, it really did. It really did. But if you're having any issues with the lag still, just refresh. You'll be fine. It should be fine now. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? It'll be fine now. It'll be fine now. Trust me, it'll be fine. Anyway, how's everybody doing today? Hope you're doing well. How are we? How was your evening? How was your day? How was your afternoon? How was your morning? How's your life going? Is it good? Is it good? Too much light. It's very bright now, but it's not yellow anymore. I've got to still figure out some toning, but I prefer this to the yellow yesterday. I think the picture looks a lot better and all of that. Do the zoom thing like this. Let's see if it works. I don't know if I'll get it to work today. It wasn't working earlier. Oh, I know why it's not working. Hold on. Too much light? Nah, it's okay. It's okay. It'll be okay. It'll be fine. I prefer it like this. I prefer it like this. We gonna be all right. All right. Anyway, lots to talk about today, isn't there? I think the lighting, I think the color looks really, really, really good now. White is better than yellow. Can you hold the volume? Is the volume good? I got the new microphone. How is the volume for all of you? I'm live testing all of this, but how's the volume now? Is it if it's too low, tell me, but I don't want it to be higher because otherwise on occasion when I get very enthusiastic, I blow out the eardrums, and I don't intend to do that either. So let me know on that, and then we'll kind of get right into everything for today's video. I did. You noticed. I said it yesterday. I took the steamer to the flag and got like 80% of the wrinkles out of it. So that's good. That's good. Super good, great, excellent, fantastic. So yeah, we've upgraded the setup. I can always crank the volume just a tiny bit higher if I need to. I'm waiting for one more. There, I put it up just a little. I'm waiting for one more thing that is going to enhance the sound, to turn the volume up on the sound, because to turn the volume up on the sound, because it's what's it called? There's a word for this thing. It's one more thing in it, and it enhances the energy, whatever the hell, electrical flow. It's anyway, I don't remember what it's called. I'll remember later. It's not that important. Anyway, let's get into it because we have a bit to talk about today. If you want to talk about, I want to talk about sales today. I want to talk about if you're still a Baleba or not. We had one report today, but so far not followed up with anything else, okay? And so for now, we may still be Balebas. We're not sure, but at the moment, we're still Balebas. But the sales are moving. Yeah. The sales are actually progressing. I see that. Chevalier is having a disaster in his first game, and that's pretty funny. I think that's pretty funny. I think that Sam Wall's article is a bit of old info. It's kind of debunked by Orny today. Right. Well, the thing about it, Luciano, is that we'll talk about it. I want to talk about the sales first, then we'll get to Baleba. Then we'll get to the live prediction of the Premier League this season. Just letting everybody kind of flow in here. As we're getting going, please do make sure to like the video and like the video. Let me get the poll going here on that as we get into things. Donnarumma with the cigar on his couch watching. Yes, exactly. You only listen to Indy Kyla, the prophet. I know. What? It's kind of crazy. Well, how do you know it was pre the Sheshko deal, Hamza? That's my question I do want to ask you guys, because one of the things that we do tend to do, all right, that I just want to say, and this isn't info. This isn't info. I'm not saying I've heard something to align with Sam Wallace or anything like that. Okay, so with that report, so don't take this the wrong way. But one of the things that we tend to do as a community of United fans is to disregard anything. Well, this isn't just United fans. This is everybody, isn't it? Disregard things that we don't want to believe and pick them apart and believe the things that we really do want to believe and be a little less discerning over that kind of information. I really want us to get Carlos Baleba, but that doesn't really read like an opinion piece. I'm not going to lie to you. It doesn't at all read like an opinion piece. It's written by somebody at the Telegraph who's generally quite good, but it's not an exclusive. At the same time, it's not an opinion piece. Like I do think it would be wrong to write it off as an opinion piece. Let me pull it up here. We'll just get into this first. Let me just tweet here. There's bits of it that I would say are not great, and there's bits of it that I wouldn't fully underrate. Okay, so give me just a sec, and we'll get right into this right now. All right, let's go. It's just a mixture. There's bits that I think are okay, and there's bits that aren't. So let's pull it up. So if we take a look at it from the start, it says Carlos Baleba valued at 100 million plus by Brighton. Manchester United not prepared to pay that price this summer, but interest in young, versatile midfielder remains. Now, if you just take a look at that for a minute, instead of immediately writing it off as an opinion, that's not an opinion. That it's not stated as an opinion anyway. It's stated as we don't want to pay the value that they are valuing him at. That United don't want to spend that kind of money on him this summer. Okay, if you just take it as that. Yeah, I saw that, unfortunately. The situation with Kone getting an injury in that game, it looks like something to his head, and they're trying to get him to the hospital, and they've had to abandon the game. That's horrible for him, and I hope he's okay at the end of it. Apparently he stood up, and then they sat him back down and made him gets stretchered off, and now that game is suspended. So hopefully he's all right after all this. We'll see kind of what comes of that in the end. But yeah, obviously hope he's okay on that. But again, going back to this, when you look at it, that part is fairly factual in terms of how it's stated. By the way, Don Cray, welcome to the Pro Muppet. And then it says, is valued by his club, currently unwilling to buy at that level. Understand, like, that's not an opinion, or it's not stated as an opinion, if you get me. It says that we're not prepared to pay over $100 million for him. It says the two clubs have not spoken directly about a player at a level that would suggest a deal is imminent, with a Baleba currently priced above what United would be prepared to pay. Then it does get a little bit confusing, because it says he is the midfielder United's Ineos hierarchy would wish to sign, were they not operating within tight profitability and sustainability lines already. This is the part where it gets confusing. And then it says, essentially it says we've spent the money that we have on other positions and we would need to sell. That's true to a degree, but then it doesn't sound, it's hard to make of it to a degree. Like, because it's a bit half and half. It sounds like on the one hand, he's saying we won't want to pay that much money because we don't value him at that. And on the other hand, it says, because it doesn't say unable, it says unwilling, okay? But then on the other hand, it says it's because of profit and sustainability, and it says it's because we don't have the money for it and we have to make sales. So I don't actually know, frankly. I don't actually know which one it is. Which one is the reason? Is it because we don't have the money he's writing this, or it's presumed that we don't have the money that he's writing this, or is it because we don't want to pay over $100 million, or is it both? Okay. And then why today? You know, is that written? Now, the fact that nobody has followed it up yet leads me to believe that, that we're still interested and that we're still involved in it. Now, the part that I can understand, that I can agree with, and that is in alignment with everything that I've heard, is that we need more money in order to make a deal for Baleba. We do need more money. We have to raise money from sales. So this has been something we've been talking about now for ages, and continues to be the truth of the matter. We do need more money in order to make this deal. United need to balance the books to a degree. However, there are some movements on that front. So that we will have to see. When you're saying, well, we haven't got a price and this and that, that's where I think people are just writing stuff out, are just writing stuff off for no reason. Saying that the club value the player at over $100 million is not in conflict with saying that United have not been given a price by Brighton. Do you understand? Those two things are not necessarily in conflict. Those both can be true. So I'm not going to sit and write off everything that is said by Sam Walls, who is their chief football writer and who did an interview with Jim Ratcliffe 4 or 5 months ago. Just bear that in mind, okay? I think it'd be foolish to completely write it off, but it is a little confusing as to whether it's saying we won't pay over $100 million or whether it's saying we need more money. One of the things that obviously is that also came out today is, United's new sponsorship with Coca-Cola for the next 3 years for the UK and Europe. Not here in the US, which is probably would be worth a lot more simply because you drink a lot of Coca-Cola in the US. But still, Didn't get a notification from YouTube for the live. I don't know. Some people say they don't get the notifications on the lives for some reason, and I don't know why that is. You should, but sometimes it doesn't happen. I'm sorry. I think that the only thing I'm just going to say on this is I think claiming that it's the journalist's been told to put a story together by the editor or something like that, and they don't know what they're saying. I don't think you can make those kind of claims, and I think it's very dangerous to make those kinds of assumptions when you're reading news. You can think that's what it is if you want. That doesn't make it true. I'm just taking it at face value at the moment, which is that right now it says we're unwilling to buy at that level. So be it. But I don't think that it's off. And we haven't seen, the different, like we haven't seen different articles or people to back it up as of yet. I would suggest that we might have gotten some feedback from an initial kind of report, initial conversations, and that we need to make some money. And we need to do that. Click on the bell and then click on all. Is that on my side that it's not doing it? Oh, some people need to turn their notifications on for all things. True. Yes, I think it's on your side if that's not happening. So look, as of today, as of right this moment, and trust me, I'm checking messages and checking all sorts of things. I'm checking messages. I'm checking things. I've reached out to people to try and find out. Okay, all I have today is nothing new. Our plan was still, as of yesterday, to move forward with some kind of proposal and then see what the feedback was and see where we go from there and see what kind of price was named. Is this a response to that? It's possible. I'm not going to say it isn't, certainly off the bat, until we see what anybody else has said. But I do believe that our approach to Brighton, whether directly or through intermediaries, is underway in order to ascertain the price and to see if this is a deal that is possible and is worth doing. It's in progress. We are trying now. We have kind of started that process overall. So just think with that. Now, the part that I don't buy is that I don't believe United would have expected the price to be under that 100 million. 1 second. I don't think United would have expected the price to be under 100 million. So I wouldn't necessarily believe it to be a matter of unwilling to pay that price. Probably more likely, we don't have the money for it at this point in time, which is technically true. So let's get back to, let's go to the sales. Let's talk about the sales situation. And do you mind dropping the camera specs? You mean what camera it is? It's an OBS Meet 2. It's just a tiny little thing, and it's quite incredible. And I haven't done anything to it. I've just leave it on default settings now. I just got better, changed the lighting in here. So, yeah, I don't think we would have expected it to be under 100. The original thing that I reported or heard was they would want around 100. Now, that doesn't mean United wouldn't try to push that down, but they would have expected it to be there. So the only question is, if we don't actually value him at 100 million, then we might not be willing to pay 100 million. I don't think so. I'm not sure what the answer is here. We'll have to see what else comes out. Okay, we'll see what else comes out today. I don't think we've walked away from it yet, but the approach is on. So I'm certainly staying a little bit wary of any report that comes out, because if more people write reports that look like what Sam Wallace wrote today, then that would tell me that the deal is off, that we just don't value him at that price, even though we kind of expected them to ask for it. We were hoping to get it lower. We don't value him at that price, and maybe we don't think he's going to be, maybe we can't afford that price. It's an unknown. That is an unknown factor. I'm not sure, and it's hard for any of us to know as of yet. I don't have an update yet. I'll see if I get an update later today. Like I said, I sent some messages out, looked into it a bit, and I hear a few things about it. To see if I can find anything else. In addition to that, I just want to again add that I do believe the semi-approach, the soft approach, as I've been calling it, to Brighton is now well underway for the deal. So I think we will get some answers soon. One way or another, we're going to get some answers. We're going to get some answers soon to this situation. Get my mic closer. I would love to put my mic closer. I just need to get a proper stand that will lift it up higher. Right now it's sat on top of my laptop. But look, I've said before, there's people whose articles I talk about. There's people whose articles I don't. And I'm probably not going to change in that respect at this point in time. So I'll comment on the things I think are worth commenting on at this point in time. Yeah, that's all. Anyway, let's move on to the next point on this. Part of the approach was the need for certain sales to get closer. The need for certain sales. Hold on.
Two things. One, Thomas Frank already showing us you don't need windows and overhauls to coach a side. 2. United addressing the midfield so late is likely to lead to disaster. I know you will disagree.
Yes, I definitely will disagree, because I'll tell you a couple of things. There's two factors in this. Number one on Thomas Frank. I think Thomas Frank is a very, very good manager. Okay, I think Thomas Frank is a very great manager. In fact, I wanted us to hire him before last season when we were supposed to let go of Erik ten Hag, if you recall. He's a very good manager. But I'm going to say this, and I believe it wholeheartedly. What a team does in the first 3 or 4 weeks of a manager arriving has almost nothing to do with the manager. It has almost everything to do with new, fresh ideas, an extra rate of energy, and just trying something else. In addition to that, of course, there's the rustiness that comes into all of these things. Also, in addition to that, you do have to bear in mind that while Spurs are Spurs, okay? Yeah, Ange was the same. Look, Amorim was the same. We won 2. Remember what he said? What did he say? He said, I told you 6 months ago, after 2 wins and 1 draw, the storm was coming, right? He said that because we started out with 7 points in 3 games under Ruben Amorim. And we thought, shit, we're flying now. It's not how it works. It's not how it works. That beginning is very, very, very is not what a manager is trying to do. That being said, Thomas Frank will probably kick on a little bit faster than some other managers will, because Thomas Frank is a chameleon. It's like Dracula. It's like half Transylvanian, half Portuguese. No idea what that was. Vantus, exactly. Russian Amorim. It was a half. It was a half and half. Anyway, regardless, Thomas Frank's a chameleon. Thomas Frank is a manager who adjusts to a lot of different to his team. He's always been that way. He's done a different system every single season. Every single season. You know, he's done it every single season. He changes immediately. He adapts to the team. And the one thing you have to say for Spurs is that even though I think they've done a lot of Spursy recruitment, okay? They've done a lot of Spursy recruitment, which is that they tend to build teams that will get between 4th and 6th place, okay? They've had consistency. They've had consistency in their recruitment. They've had consistency in their recruitment. They've had consistency in building a team that can do certain things with certain principles, even though they've changed managers, because they've had the same person doing recruitment for a long time. They've had the same person doing recruitment for a long time. So they've been recruiting in line with the same principles for a long time. So either way, they're going to be able to play a certain way of playing football. And I think people get way too fixated on formations. Thomas Frank will come in and say, oh, that's the team. I'll just set it up based on the strengths of the squad. That's what he does everywhere he goes. And he's a good manager for it. I quite like him. So if you have a squad that is capable of doing something, then he will construct it and put it in the right shape to do what it can do best. That's not what every manager's philosophy is, and that's certainly not what Ruben Amorim's philosophy was, and it's also certainly not why he was brought in. That being said, addressing the midfield in August, well, yes, and it's because the priority was to address the attack, and it was just viewed that was a bigger problem, and it still is today. As much as any one of us. Look, if you go back 2 weeks, before we thought Baleba was even a possibility, I was very, very happy. I was very, very happy in order to... I really liked Thomas Frank. I really did, because I think he's a really good manager in general. But, like, honestly, Spurs, every single year you look in August and you think the Spurs are good. It happens every single year. You look in August, people think Spurs are good, myself included, and then every year by December they're shit again. It's just the life of Spurs. But in the midfield, if we go back 2 weeks ago, three forwards wanted, 3 forwards brought in. That's what I heard before the window. That's what I heard was the intention for the window. The midfield is secondary because we don't have anybody sold. You know, we don't have anybody out. We don't have any serious moves out in that area that would raise funds. We didn't think we'd have more money to spend in this. We didn't think we'd have more money to spend by now, and yet maybe we do. So it's going to be more difficult. But the idea was to sign 3 forwards, and we absolutely should be signing 3 forwards. That's for sure. That is absolutely the case. So, yeah, look, the Super Cup is the Super Cup, man. I mean, it is what it is. If you take that too seriously, then so be it. If you want to read into that, then that's fair enough. And yeah, no, look, you can assume that I've considered that every year United have made good decisions, but you'd be very wrong. In fact, until this summer, United did at least 2 things I thought were horrific decisions. Last year, it was keeping Erik ten Hag when they clearly wanted him out. And it was the Ligt Mazraoui signings that I thought were unnecessary at that time, and I thought we would have done better. So I had big complaints about some of the decisions they made last year. The year before that, I actually thought they did okay, unfortunately, and it didn't quite work out. But the year before that, I didn't even want us to hire Ten Hag in the first place. And I said that our pursuit of Frankie de Jong was one of the stupidest things we could ever do. And I said that buying Antony for 80 million was one of the stupidest things we could do. So I'm far from somebody who has considered every year that we've made the right decisions. But those were also old people in place. In fact, I tend to be very I've been fairly critical. I'm just a positive person, so I've been fairly critiquing of things, but I'm a positive person, so I'll always hope that things will go to the best. This summer, I have my concerns that I've aired over Benjamin Šeško, but otherwise, I'm very happy with the approach. I wanted 3 forwards, and I think 3 forwards will get us into Europe. Frozone's lost supersuit. I said, James, where's my supersuit? I don't know. Where's your supersuit? You tell me. Anyway, so yeah, let's move on to the sales, and then I need to get to the predictor, and then I need to get to the Prem predictor that I need to do so that you guys can see my predictions, and tomorrow we can do yours.
Did they keep ETH because of fans writing letters? ETH did turn out to be another FTB/Coman who also succeeded at Ajax but failed at top leagues.
Because of I wouldn't say because of, but they did keep him. It made it easier to go back on their decision to keep him because they knew they would get fan support. For sure. It did make it easier for them to go back on that. No doubt about that. All right. So on the sales topics, yesterday we spoke about Rasmus Hojlund, and the news was at that point in time that I was saying the door has slightly opened for Rasmus Hojlund to leave Manchester United, that he'd started to kind of open the cracks, make the just a little bit open the door to leaving. That he wasn't necessarily sold on Milan, but wanted to keep his options open and look at the other options that are out there. Now, that being said, today that has been confirmed. There's been a bit of today a briefing of sorts that has gone out to a few different journalists. Rob Dawson, Simon Stone, that state that he's now kind of considering and facing the music essentially on his situation. So you're welcome. There's another thing that I had correct. I was a little concerned about saying it because it's hard to know from Rasmus's side. This came from one perspective, but I did say that yesterday, that he's considering a situation, and almost word for word, we got this from Simon Stone. While sources deny Hojlund has specifically been told he will not feature, given the club has spent over $200 million on a new-look strike force and have no European football, it is clear opportunities for the Dane will be limited. Therefore, it is understood he is now considering a situation. AC Milan are still at the front of the queue. United would be willing to accept a loan deal with an option to buy next summer. There's no agreement yet. He still has to make a firm decision about his short-term future. Essentially, Rob Dawson's piece said the same thing, that he would be, what's the word for it? What was the word that how did he say it? Ultimately, the decision will be his on where he goes. Now, at the same time, Fabrizio Romano today did report on Milan pushing forward, and that, I think he said it was now being considered. No? Let me go back and find that really quick. He says, AC Milan keep advancing on Rasmus Hojlund deal with Man United. Talks ongoing on player side to discuss the project as Hojlund is opening the doors to AC Milan. So I said yesterday that they did have contact with him, and they did, and they have. And yesterday there were more talks as well. 6 million euros loan fee, 45 million euros buy option clause, and salary covered. Details revealed last week. Agreement closer. So I think, John Doogie, thank you for joining the Pro Muppet. So it does sound like he's opened the door to a move somewhere else. He is looking at his options, but Milan may end up still being where he goes at the end of the day, and that deal is pretty much there. Obviously, the message, even if he hasn't been explicitly told, the message from Ruben Amorim at the weekend was, you're probably not going to play, bro. When you start Mason Mount up front in the false nine and say it, I mean, come on, man. The message is clear. Are we ready for the analogy? We're going to do the analogy. This is like, your wife's moved out of the bedroom, sleeping in another room. She's seeing someone else. she's taken her ring off and she's telling people she's not married, and you're going, I can still make it work. It's over. It's over. Move on. It's over. That's the reality of the situation that I think Hojlund is starting to face. He's woken up and realized the bed is cold, the room is empty, and there's another man in the other room, and it's time to go. And so I think he's woken up at this point to the reality of the situation. And it's a tough one. But this is the most competitive league in the world. And frankly, whether you're a United fan or not, as a player, everything's about performance. You get there, and you have to get there. You have to perform. And if you don't perform, then there's no position for you to play in. It is what it is. You know, sometimes you just have to accept the reality of it. Sometimes you just have to accept the reality of it and move on. Okay? So that's life. I know, it's hard to talk about. It's hard to talk about. That's life, okay? Anyway, so there we go. That's Hojlund's situation. I do think this is going to happen. Now, the Garnacho situation continues to be, what's going on, Fabrizio, man? What's going on, Fabrizio? What's happening? Because a couple of days ago, I went on a big rant about Alejandro Garnacho, and I said I don't even think Chelsea really want him. I think they're playing games. And then Fabrizio tweeted that they're advancing on the move, and then nothing. So I still feel like they're playing games. I still feel like this is a bit of like, I feel like they're still playing games. I still feel like they're messing with it. I feel like they're, we're going to do a deal, and then they back up. Oh, we're going to do a deal, and then they back away. And it's like, are they just keeping Garnacho on the hook? And then they're just going to, when is this actually going to happen? You know what I mean? Like, if it was advancing a couple of days ago, after we previously had 30 million and 50 million report, then why hasn't it advanced? Those valuations should have been closed by now, at least made some sort of progress. So I know that there are talks ongoing between the two clubs, for what it's worth. I'm well aware of that. Actually, they are happening. I know that for sure, but something about it still seems slightly off.
If you were Garnacho, why would you even want to go to Chelsea given they value you less than their bomb squad players?
I agree, Alfred. That's what I was saying. Like, if they value you at 30 million at most, and they're willing to not do it at all summer, then how much do they really value you, honestly? Like, what do they actually think of you in that case? What do they actually think of you? Like, they must not think you're that good. And then you're sitting there like, you could have gone to Leverkusen, where you would have paid every single game under Ten Hag. You could have gone to Napoli, where Scott McTominay has had a brilliant revival, though you're not as good as Scott McTominay, so that's probably not going to happen. You could have gone practically anywhere, and instead you're waiting for a club that may not even want you. These kids make very strange decisions with their careers. Very, very strange decisions with their careers. And then you just add it to Chelsea in general, and you're going to be behind so many people. But there must be some kind of intrigue in the whole Chelsea thing. Now, at the same time, of course, it has been progressing, as has the Hojlund deal been progressing, which, of course, has led us to potentially the ability to move forward with the Baleba deal and punch it, and try to at least see if we can get something done here. So I guess we'll see what happens, because they are progressing, even if slowly. And again, the situation with the Baleba deal, with the costs, with things like that, is we didn't necessarily have to have the sale totally done, but we do need to have it likely kind of looking good. And now the Hojlund deal is looking good. The Garnacho deal will happen at some point, and that's why we've been able to kind of make this move forward. So let's get to the Premier League prediction portion of this, and then I may come back to news afterwards, because again, I'm still waiting for messages and texts and things that might give us some kind of updates, and you never know. We always get stuff around this time of night here and there. So I guess we will see. Yeah, so then we will see. Okay. So yeah, then we'll come back. We'll come back to news because I do feel like we'll have maybe something during the live. There's always a decent chance. 2-1 PSG have scored. Well, if they score again, then Thomas Frank is a fraud, right? That's how it works, apparently. Oh, wait. You can see like every pore in my face. Oh my God, and it won't go away. Here, wait. There we go. That's terrible. I hate that. Anyway, that's how it that's how it works. All right, let's get to the prediction portion of tonight's video. Why did Thomas Frank's great Spurs, best manager in the league, suddenly concede? He must be shit. That's how we react. That's what we do, man. All right. What was I trying to look for? Here we go. And I got to thank one of the users in the Patreon here, actually, who created this little site. There's others and things. I tried to do the Premier League one, but I logged in and then it auto submitted it in alphabetical order. And that's a shame because I would never predict Arsenal to win the league. Okay? Ever. All right? Ever. So let's do... Oh, hold on. Let me come back to this in a second because I need to record this for somebody else so that they can actually clip it up properly for later. Right. So now we're going to get into the... Let me see. Does that mess up? It lags the hell out of my thing when I click record. So hold on a second. I'm going to reset that. 1 second, guys. Sorry. I'm just sorting out a technical difficulty here. Just sorting out a technical difficulty. On my side, it lags, and I'm concerned it's gonna destroy it when I click record. So it's probably okay on your side, but for me, it'll be fine. I'll just do it based off of the live. Not a big deal. All right. What time am I at? 43 minutes. Okay, cool. All right, let's get into the Premier League prediction portion of this. Let's take a look at who I think is going to finish. I'm going to start with relegation, and I'm going to move all the way up to title winners, and I'm going to predict who's our top scorer, which I've already done, and I'm going to predict the Golden Boot winner as well. So I've got this page wrapped up here. I tried to do the Premier League one, but as I said a little bit earlier, it automatically submitted it, and it had it in alphabetical order, which is kind of useless for me. So this is from somebody in the Patreon who made this, so thanks for that. Starting with this, I'm going to start with the relegation candidates, and easy first one. We're going Leeds, okay? We're going with Leeds. Daniel Farke is the manager, right? He is an expert at promoting and relegating clubs, and it's Leeds. So I'm going to definitely stick Leeds into the relegation bracket to start. Who else is going to go down? I'm going to stick Burnley in there. I think we have this interesting kind of time where a lot of relegated clubs do go down pretty quickly. Refresh and it'll show. Oh, I might have to start this over. Hold on 1 second. If it has the logos now. Oh, it does. All right, we're going to start it over. It won't take me long. It won't take me long. All right, I'm at about 44 and a half minutes. All right. So now I'm going to predict the Premier League from 20 to 1, and I'm going to look at who's going to be relegated all the way to the title winners in the top 4, as well as the Golden Boot winner and all of that. So here we go on screen. I want to thank the person who made this. This is a cool page made by somebody in the Patreon. It's even got my logo on it. How cool is that? Thank you to them for doing that for us. So starting, it's easy. The first team that's going down is Leeds. Leeds are getting relegated. Daniel Farke, very good at promoting teams, very good at relegating teams, and it's Leeds. They're going back down. They're not staying in the Premier League. I don't think they're ready. The way that Farke tends to play, they almost always are very good in the Championship and very bad in the Premier League. They get absolutely ripped apart, okay? The second one is Burnley. I just don't think they're going to be good enough. I think there's a big gap in the Premier League these days as well. Between and I think it's more likely than ever, in my opinion, that Championship clubs that get promoted get relegated almost right away. I think that just happens a lot. Now, I know a lot of people want me to say Sunderland here, and a lot of people probably don't. But I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Sunderland. I like what they do. I like what Sunderland do. So it's not going to be them. It's going to be our friends Brentford. Because they've lost a lot. Oh, shit. Go down. Go down, Brentford. Uh-oh. Where are you? There it is. I'm going to pick Brentford. I'm going to pick Brentford as my third candidate to get relegated. No Mbumo. They've got issues with Wissa. They've lost a few people. They've lost their coach. I think that Thomas Frank was keeping them up. I think Thomas Frank was a big part of what made Brentford tick, and I think that Brentford have a good chance of being relegated this season. Now, who else has a good chance of being relegated this season? Well, I think Wolves are going to be quite poor. They're going to be nearing the bottom of my table, losing Cunha. They were getting a little bit better towards the end of the year, but then I think that they lost some of their good players, and I just think they're going to struggle a little bit. Following that, I think Sunderland are going to stay up, but I don't think they're going to be particularly good. So this final spot, like these two are more of a lock to me. Burnley and Leeds, I think, are more of a lock to me to go down. But I think that Brentford, Wolves, and Sunderland are going to be in the battle here. And then I have one more, and you might not like it, and people are going to struggle with this because they've been good recently, but we're going with Crystal Palace. And I'm going to tell you why. At this point in time, I think they're not necessarily going to be in a well, how do I change it? There you go. Not necessarily be in a relegation battle. I don't think they will get relegated. But I think they're going to struggle because they're in Europe, because they've made 0 transfers, and because they're going to end up getting injured and having a hard time. They have a good manager. They have a good team. They have some good players, but the addition of Europe is going to hurt them a lot in that Conference League. Those extra games, the extra competition, and the fact that they've bought nobody is going to cause them problems. They already have players who get injured. They already have issues in that respect, and I think that is going to hurt them there a bit. I don't think they'll get relegated, but I think they're going to struggle a bit more in the league. Look, they got, 12th last year? They might lose Eze as well. They got 12th last year. 12th again, who gives a fuck? They've won the FA Cup. They're going to struggle. They'll probably be in the 15th to 16th bracket. They could be around there. They weren't like good in the league last year. Following that, I really rate Andoni Iraola. I think they have enough attack to stay up. So I'm going to go with West Ham because I still don't know what they're doing. And then we're going to pull down Bournemouth into this position as well because they've lost some key people here, but I really do rate Areola, and I think they have enough forwards to keep them up and keep them doing all right. But there you go, 2-2. Thomas Frank is a fraud. You heard it here first. What happened? Bottling a 2-goal lead. He's already got Spurs DNA. Thomas Frank, perfect manager for Tottenham Hotspurs. All that praise sounds pretty shit now, doesn't it? He's already implemented his bottling tactics that quickly. That's what I hear. Gonzalo Ramos, too. Kang and Liam, Gonzalo Ramos, 2 players that I really like scoring goals today. There you go. Anyway, let's keep on. Let's keep on with this. After Bournemouth, who else? I think Forest massively overachieved. I'm dragging them down here. In fact, I think Nottingham Forest were the far and away the biggest overachievers last year. They're not that good. They play counterattacking football, and they lost Anthony Elanga, one of their best players, for said style. I think that's going to hurt them quite a bit. They could even, in my mind, finish lower. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. Yeah, they could even finish a little bit lower than that. So I think that that Forest are potentially in trouble. Fulham are always a little bit better than expected. I think Brighton are I'm going to stick Brighton in here, though. I don't think they'll be very good this year as well. I think they're going to be difficult. I think they're going to struggle a bit. I know I'm very boring in predicting most of the good teams, and I'm going to explain why in a minute. Then we're going to pull Fulham. I have the biggest trouble. I don't think they've made enough improvements this year. Here's what my feeling in general, all right? And I think it's a little bit boring to look at it this way. A lot of the mid-table to lower-tier clubs have been ripped apart this summer, okay? A lot of them have. If you look in the transfer window, if you looked at what's happened so far, a lot of the clubs outside the Big Six have been torn to shreds with their best players getting sold and being pulled apart this year. And I think it's the Big Six have spent a lot of money, and the rest of the clubs have gotten a lot weaker. And it's one of those years where it does that kind of momentum shift and all of that happening. And a few of them have Europe, and they're going to really struggle as well. So I think it's going to be semi-boring in that we're going to get the usual top 8 in the top 8. Everton, they've got a new stadium. David Moyes, I like David Moyes. And I think that his very physical bully style is going to keep Everton in a good position as well into the top 10. Borderline top 8, we'll see. They could fall down to 9th, 10th, or 11th, but I think that the way they play is going to be fairly decent. They could be lower, though. I'm a little less confident in them, but they've got the new stadium. I think David Moyes is an experienced Premier League manager and will have them doing okay. And like I said, I think other clubs have fallen apart a lot, and I think that they've managed to not get ripped apart. Unless I'm forgetting something, am I missing anything on the transfers from Everton? What have they done? And they haven't done well in their window, but they haven't lost major players, have they? That's kind of the biggest thing. Next, I'm going to go with Newcastle. I think Newcastle are going to struggle. They're going to lose Isak. He's refusing to play for them. I do not rate the moves that they've made in the window at this point in time. I think they're going to really have a hard time scoring goals. They've lost Isak essentially, and they've brought in Anthony Elanga. They're physical, and that'll keep them competitive, but with multiple competitions and all of that, and the loss of Isak, they're far and away their best player. There's just no way that they can be that good. I think their attack is going to fall down a lot. Yeah, I thought Everton have done quite well. Yeah, they've got a few decent players in, but they've got a few 6th to 8th rate players and things like that. When you save the table and you finish, it'll create a share link. Okay, thank you for that. But, Newcastle will be decent, but I don't think they're going to be very good. I don't think they're going to be nearly as good as they were. They've had a bad window. Following that, I'm going with Aston Villa, who I also don't think have had an amazing window. I do rate Unai Emery. I rate his runs in Europa. They could be lower. They lost Asensio, they lost Rashford, they've lost Ramsey. They've made some good signings. I think Guisan from Nice is a good player. They could end up here. Like these two could very much interchange, and Everton could fall down here for sure. It gets a little muddy in this respect, but I don't think they're going to be very good in general. Then we go Tottenham. I think Tottenham have done Tottenham things in this window, but I think they're going to struggle. I just don't think they're going to be that good. There's still certain things I don't rate about them. I still think their back line is just going to be injured constantly. I think they made good 6th, 7th signings. Then you get to the top 5, and you're saying, well, shit, you've already got United in the top 5. You're goddamn right I've got United in the top 5. What kind of fan are you? I'm going to keep United in the top 5 no matter what. I said, if we get a striker, we will get Champions League. If we get a striker, we will get Champions League. Now, look, there might be more signings here. This is today, okay? This is today. But I believe that if we had the front 3 we have now, even last season, I think we would have finished around 6th or 7th, and I think we're going to be even better. I think 5th will get Champions League this year, for sure. For United, it would be hard to justify putting United over anybody else, but you know what? I'm going to do it anyway. Chelsea are going into 5th for me. Way too much hype on Chelsea right now, simply because of the Club World Cup at this point in time, simply because of they have this apparent momentum, but they've had so many changes. I think people vastly underrate the effect that it has on the team to constantly be chopping and changing your team like crazy every single season. That's just, I think people underrate that aspect. That's my view on it. Yeah, I don't care. This is where I'm at. All right. So Chelsea, I think, will be in 5th. Now, you might say, James, what are you doing? You've got Manchester United in the top 4. And you're goddamn right, I have Manchester United in the top 4. And they're not just going to be in the top 4. No, seriously. It's considering we don't have Baleba today, I will not be adding United to first place. I can tell you that right now. I will not be saying United win the league. But I am on record. I am on record saying if we were to get Baleba and a keeper, title charges on. Well, we don't have either, and we're probably not going to get a keeper. So even with Baleba, I probably can't put us into title-winning position or in the charge there. I can't. All right? I can't justifiably do that, even though it would make for great content. I have to be realistic in my predictions. So I'm going to put United in 2nd. No, I'm kidding. I'm sticking United here in 4th. I think that one game a week, I think will look good. I think we're going to struggle to start the season a little bit. I think we'll probably be in 5th through 7th for the first 2-3 months of the season. And then second half of the season, we will really find our form and we will climb up. We might get higher than 4th, honestly. But yeah. Next. You know, I really don't want to pick a title winner. I really don't. Next, I'm putting Liverpool. I think Liverpool are going to struggle a bit more than you think. I think Liverpool are going to struggle a bit more than you think this season. I don't rate Florian Wirtz yet. I'm probably going to be totally wrong for that. I think Ekitike actually looks really good. I think it's a lot of chopping and changing for Liverpool, and I think their defense sucks. And I think we're going to start to see the flaws in Arne Slot's system a lot more this season. Then it comes to 2. And you know what? Here's the thing, guys. Arsenal can't win the league. They just can't. I don't think they can win the league. I don't think Arsenal can win the league. It's just, to me, it's just not possible that Arsenal can win the league. They're incapable of winning the league. Now, look, bear in mind something. You're right. Even with Isak, could Liverpool win the league? Yes. They could. They sure could. If they get Isak, I will bump them up to 1st or 2nd for sure, because they will have enough firepower to carry them. Right now, I think Ekitike is a good link-up player. I think he's a good player, but I don't think he's going to score enough goals, and I don't think that they have enough goals in the team as of yet to get 1st, and that means the title goes to Manchester City. Now, that sounds crazy. Manchester City have struggled. Manchester City have gone through a lot of overhauls. But Arsenal won't win the league. Arsenal won't win the league. They just can't. Arsenal cannot win the league. And I don't think their business this summer has been that good. Saka has to prove he can stay fit, for one. Madueke is an upgrade on Martinelli, but I don't trust Arteta to make the right choices there. Gyökeres is better than Havertz, but I don't think he's going to work with Arteta particularly well. I think in the midfield, losing Thomas Partey and replacing him with Zubimendi is going to make them worse. I think their half and half. I think they're right in the middle, and they're going to be about as good as they were last year. I don't think they've gotten better. I'm not sure if they've gotten worse. They might have. I don't think they can win the league competing on all fronts. I don't think they've done that. I think Manchester City have the best team still. You know, they've done a fuckload of investment. They've bought a lot of players. Now, look, the truth of the matter is, I think that if you go through this and look at it, it's kind of boring that I've picked all the big clubs into the top half this year, but I think that it's very likely just because of what's happened in the window with so many teams, with so many teams getting ripped apart, and at the lower half and these clubs performing. Now, look, there are potential changes in here. There are potential changes in this, okay? If City can get Rodrigo, they've got people to add. They've got a good team in place. They've got a strong team in place. If Rodri's back and healthy and stays healthy, then they'll win the league. If Isak moves to Liverpool, then I'm putting them. Then I think they'll get second or first. If we get Baleba, I'm moving us up a little bit. But the reality is, you can disagree with me all you want, and that's okay. I believe, man. I have it in my heart. I think the top 5 is a total toss-up. I think it is as much a toss-up as it has ever been right now. I think it's a toss-up. I think it could change dramatically, and I think that it's nearly impossible to predict this top 5 and who is going to finish where from these 5 teams. And you're going to say, well, how are you including United in there? Don't care. I'm including United in there because I think we have the second best attack in the Premier League as the front 3. If Šeško hits, if Šeško is even good, we will have potentially the best attack in the Premier League unless City get Rodrigo, and then I can't say that we have the best attack in the Premier League. But you look at it statistically, if Šeško is good, we probably have the best front 3 on paper in the Premier League. And I think that is extremely underrated. I think that is extremely underrated in its effect on where you finish in the table. I don't know when football became this, but the simple fact is usually scoring a hell of a lot of goals helps you, and we will score a hell of a lot of goals with them. So that's my take. That's my table. Manchester City, unfortunately, title winners as it stands today. If we make signings, I may revisit this at the end of the window and see where we're at. So obviously adding in Baleba, I feel more confident about this. But it's hard. It's hard. If Isak moves to Liverpool, that's going to change things. If we get Baleba, that's going to change things. So we will see. Now, in addition, I want to say that I think that our top scorer, I said before, is going to be Cunha, and he's going to get 15 goals or more in the league. Secondly, the Golden Boot. The Golden Boot. Who is the Golden Boot winner for the league? It's going to be Hojlund, or it's going to be Isak if he goes to Liverpool. Hojlund or Isak, and it's going to be one or the other. Tell Mrs. Well, I'm glad we didn't buy him. Another one people were clamoring for, and he's been pretty poor for Spurs. Haaland, Golden Boot is Erling Haaland unless Isak gets that move to Liverpool. And then I think it'll be Isak. So those are my picks. And depending on when, because if Isak misses 3 games, that might be enough to lose him the Golden Boot, to be quite honest. That might be enough to miss the Golden Boot. But I think Haaland, I think that City are going to be a little bit more direct in the way that they play through the striker this year again and score a lot of goals. So I do think that it is going to be Haaland. It's going to be Haaland winning the Golden Boot. If Isak goes anytime soon, it could be him at Liverpool. If it's not to the last day and he misses 3 matches, then I don't think that he will win the Golden Boot even with the move. So if Rodrigo goes to City, well, yeah, that helps them too. But look, I just think that, I just think at the end of the day, that's where we're at. So one more time looking at it. City, Arsenal, Liverpool, United, Chelsea, Tottenham, Villa, Newcastle, Everton, Fulham, Brighton, Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth, West Ham, Crystal Palace, Sunderland, Wolves, Brentford, Burnley, Leeds to be relegated, barring further changes in the transfer window. So I could probably revisit it at that point in time. But that's what I have for my predictions and the golden boot for Erling Haaland or Isak if he gets to move very soon. But otherwise, I think it's going to be clearly Erling Haaland this year. So yeah, that's it. Tomorrow you can laugh, you can hate, you can make fun, but tomorrow you're gonna be on here. So if you do talk shit, then I want you to come here and back it up by putting your voice and face in front of an audience and showing that you know better and backing your point up tomorrow. And to everybody's face, display your lack of love and trust and faith in Manchester United. Put your face to it. Put your name to it. And you can come here tomorrow and do that. So, yeah, you can do that. Golden Glove. I wasn't going to predict the Golden Glove. That's crazy. Have PSG won it? Have PSG won it? PSG won. What happened? What happened? What happened? What happened, guys? What happened to Thomas Frank? What happened to the love affair for Thomas Frank? What happened, guys? I thought he was going to fix it. I thought he was going to get it all done. I thought he'd already solved everything in 2 weeks. By the way, update on Sekou Kone. After he sustained a head injury in tonight's EFL Trophy game, Sekou was conscious, stable, communicating with United's medical team. He's been taken to a hospital as a precaution for further checks. So it sounds like he's going to be okay. The game was abandoned because there was no ambulance present, which is not allowed. So just an update on that. Yeah, Frank got the Spurs a DNA. He's already learned. I noticed the messages from Hamza have disappeared since Spurs bottled the 2-goal wins. Hamza's disappeared. What happened? Where are you? Where are you? Come back, Hamza. Come back. Show your face. Show your face. Show your face. Show your face, Hamza. Come on now. You bottled it. You've bottled it. You went too soon. You went too early. Anyway. It's all in good fun. So, there we are. Yeah, there's a good tweet from Phil here. He says, I don't think I'm alone here, but there hasn't been a single day where I've been disappointed that United missed out on Tell. Agreed. Literally not a single day that I've been concerned that we didn't sign Tell.
How realistic is Baleba? Answer to open heart surgery.
How realistic is Baleba? Answer to open heart surgery? I'm still at a 6 out of 10. But we need to hear something soon or I'm going to start to fade on that a little bit. Biggest mistake was taking... No, I mean, maybe. Did we end up playing game? I have no idea, actually. When do you expect Chelsea to actually submit a bid for Garnacho? Probably not till like next week, honestly. Because I think they're going to wait for the first game week and have to leave Garnacho out of the squad and not register and shit like that. And then they'll make their bid and then they'll make their move. So I think next week, but it's just a guess. I've not heard anything on Malacia. I have not. Have we got, and has anything else come out still? I think everybody's been busy watching this game. Yeah. Tell has been, people really lost their shit about us not signing Tell, and good Lord, that would have been a waste of 15 million or whatever it was. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel and turn the notification bell on. Yes, indeed. A lot of people arriving. I assume a lot of people were watching the game afterwards. So we'll go back through the news a little bit. And if you want to catch my predictions for the Premier League. I'm going to get it on a video afterwards, so you can catch that as a separate video as well if you want to rewatch that at a later time. How have they bottled that? That's the question. Oh, I did want to talk about Jadon Sancho. Okay. Yeah, Tacticals lied about Tell being the next big thing. Yeah, I do want to talk about Jadon Sancho and his situation at this moment in time. As I've said before, Jadon Sancho continuing to run down things, continuing to reject moves, continuing to push things away in a similar way to Garnacho. Really all he's doing here, turn down Turkey again. All he's doing here is hoping for, at the end of summer, that we will loan him out for virtually nothing with his wages so he gets his money and he can negotiate for a contract next season with whoever he wants and get paid more money. That's what he wants. That's what he's working towards. That's what's going to happen. He's going to end up leaving in the final week of the window for something like a loan to expiring contract and all of that. That's what's happening. We all know it. We can all see it. That way he can get his free agent deal. He can get his wages from this season, and he doesn't have to commit to joining anybody. So that's very, very obviously what he's doing. That's what we were talking about yesterday, and he's continued to turn down moves even in the hours since then. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is on that front. That's Jadon Sancho. I know. I'm sorry. I wish I had better news on Sancho. Ever since that Juventus deal kind of died after it was being pushed so hard from Italy, and it was like, no, it's not even close, there's been nothing. There's been nothing. There's been absolutely nothing. Hi, Angie. It's going well. Thank you. Appreciated. You want to hear me get spicy? Give one word to describe Sancho. Delusional would be the word. Delusional. Anthony? Maybe his is more complicated because he has multiple years. Like, we'll probably accept that loan to Betis by the end of summer. So I don't know. Thoughts on Rashi's interview? I thought it was very good. I thought he made a lot of very good points, Rashford. I think that he pointed out a lot of the correct issues with the club and how we were building a team. He properly identified that we never really went in a single direction, with recruitment. That he identified, and said properly that we were always chopping and changing and never actually putting something consistent together, which people are already begging us to do now and not understanding why we're in the position that we're in, that we've had a mixed bag of profiles that could never be put together. And I think he did all of that while remaining respectful to the club itself without insulting it, and to say, that, just that why, theoretically, management wise, things didn't work out. And he's completely spot on. I also think that, he wasn't a part of it with that, you know what I mean? Because again, that's what he identified. I also think it was very interesting his takes on managers and how he didn't mention a certain one, by the way. We won't talk about that. But that I thought it came across complimentary of Van Gaal, but interesting in talking about the difference in style between Van Gaal and Jose as a manager. And you can see how that could affect players in their development. going with someone like Van Gaal, who's very development focused, who wants to play a certain way of playing football, teach players how to do a certain thing, then you give up on that and you go to Jose, who's a manager who's win now, doesn't care, just win. How does that affect young players and how they develop as professional athletes and round out their skill sets? So yes, exactly that. His point on the movement from Van Gaal to Mourinho was very damaging. And I think that, it's like it makes people not. It's a very, very good point, because as much as I was not a fan of Van Gaal's football, at the same time, he was building something, and he was actually putting something together, that was getting something, that was going in a direction, and then we ditched that and changed. And you can see how a lot of our players became one-dimensional over the last some years in their development. They didn't round out their game. So I thought that was very obvious that, I think it was obvious in that respect that happened and was certainly very, I don't know, damaging or whatever. But yeah, I thought it was good. I don't mind. I like when players talk, honestly. I like when players talk so long as they are respectful, and I like when they give insights, because I think that a lot of them give a lot of good insights into things that people don't necessarily look at. It's not I don't necessarily worry about players talking. I thought that Maguire, his interview was excellent. I thought that Rashford's interview was excellent. And I thought that I just like when players talk, and I think it makes them more real. And I also like that that Lineker and them, in doing that interview, correctly essentially pointed out the reason for certain things that had happened being racially motivated, and that's because that's the truth, and all of that. So I like that. So yeah. I was happy with it. Again, if you missed the beginning of the video, I was talking about Rasmus Hojlund, from our news yesterday, following through today, that he's held more talks with AC Milan over the last 24 hours, that he's opened the door to a move away from United, but is looking at his options. Milan's still there, clearly, as the potentially most likely outcome. So that's moving it forward towards a potential savings for United, whether it's a loan plus option, which is very plausible. And there's that. And then Garnacho, we were talking about the strangeness of the Chelsea situation, how it keeps advancing forward and then stopping. And then we were talking about Baleba and kind of debating on the reports that we've gotten back, because certainly it was my understanding that United were moving towards some kind of approach now, and that this is kind of ongoing, some kind of approach now in these moments to assess the situation, ascertain a price, and see if a deal is viable. We've only really had the one report from any journalist today who says, it was a negative report, and we're trying to figure out what to make of it.
Were you initially skeptical about ETH in 2022 when he first got appointed? Did you have a bad feeling it could be another FDB/Koeman situation?
Almost word for word, RSV. That was my exact concern over Ten Hag back there. I watched him. I said I didn't think that his style of football would translate to the Premier League. I thought that the transition from the Dutch league to England, for the most part, has been unsuccessful for certain reasons. But you want to know what's really funny? When Liverpool appointed Arne Slot and I looked into him, I said he would be successful at Liverpool. I said he's one of the most Dutch coaches that there is, and he would actually do quite well in the Premier League. I've actually had a really good record on my feelings over coaches and things like that over the years. So, we'll see. But yeah, I actually said Arne Slot would be successful because he was very, very different. Very, very different to most Dutch coaches, and kind of the polar opposite to Ten Hag. And of course, he had a success pretty much right away at Liverpool, unfortunately for us. But yeah, I was very, very concerned about Ten Hag. I thought he was going to be too reliant on things, and he was going to underestimate the physicality of the Premier League, and that's what he did. But yeah, I think Arne Slot managing a different type of club in the Dutch league helped him rather than that. My feelings on Ten Hag ahead of time were that he was a checkbook manager. His dominant period at Ajax aligned with Ajax doubling their wage structure during that same period of time, and outstripping the spending from the rest of the league enormously over that period. And I've said before, wage spending is the biggest coincidental factor in league success, more than even transfers. It's the wage bill. It's just naturally the case. Sometimes you can get it wrong, but I felt that Ten Hag would always, and he kind of showed that here, that he wanted to spend gashes of money, gobs and gobs of money to try to spend the way to success, but had no idea how to actually build a team without Van der Sar there and build a team for the Premier League. So anyway. So yeah, the Ajax team was insanely over the top good compared to the rest of the Eredivisie. So what a strange comment that is. Talking about a philosophy could not explain. Yeah, well, there was that too. I also felt that his inability to communicate well was pretty obvious. And I'm not talking about like making fun of his mannerisms, but he's a shit speaker. He just was a bad speaker. And that does matter. It genuinely does. Like if you look at most successful managers, they do speak well. I mean, Sir Alex was hard to understand because of the accent and stuff, but he still had a way with words and a way of speaking that was very powerful and direct. But when I say a good speaker, I'm not talking about accent. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just there's call it whatever you want to call it. There is a manner of speaking that I think works and that some managers are capable of and some are not. And you look at most successful ones, they have it. They are good speakers. When you catch how they speak to players and how they speak, there's a way they speak that carries weight and is powerful and has an impact behind it. And when you listen to Ten Hag, you're mostly just like, there is a charisma, and it does matter. I mean, it's about leadership. You have to have an ability to lead, and you have to have an ability to inspire, and you have to have an ability to get your ideas across to people in a way that they can get, and you have to be willing to talk to people too. And I don't think that Ten Hag was. I think he was, from everything you read about him, from Varane and others as well. It wasn't just the way that he spoke. It was. He didn't talk. He seemed like he never wanted to speak, and he would just ignore people. So, yeah, there's that. Even the head smack sounded good. I thought I wanted to try that head smack with this thing. So, yeah. Me, I'm not necessarily the best. I'm not the best with words, but sometimes I am. Sometimes I can get my point across. Anyway, where was I? On Baleba, I think we don't know what the response from Brighton is as of yet. The question is, was the report we got today more on the basis of we don't have the money? Because if we don't have the money, then that's different, and we're trying to raise money. If the report was indicating that we don't value him at over 100, that's a different story. I'd be a little surprised if that was the case, simply because we would have known he would have cost that. But it is true we would also have hoped to pay a bit less for, a bit less than 100 for sure. If it's just about the money, well, we are working our way towards it. So the report could still be accurate. We still need more money. We're still tight on money, but we are working towards those sales. And as long as they're in sight, then we should be able to do more. On the goalkeeper front, if we were to not get Baleba, would we turn back to the goalkeeper situation? I think there's a possibility of that, but I don't think it would be. I don't think it would be Donnarumma either way. I believe that we would be more looking at, competition for Onana at worst, and we still would like to have a sale in that position. Yes, look, I would be surprised if we walk away from Baleba because it's 100, unless we genuinely cannot put together a package that covers it. The other factor in that is we won't necessarily know what kind of deal structure they'll be asking for, and that is a very meaningful piece of information that relates to all of this. Because the cash aspect of the deal is important too. So, yeah, we've got nothing else new today, and that kind of leads you to believe that maybe that this is still on the table. But it's quiet. It's the quiet hours, which I believe, from everything I've heard, we've been in the position of making kind of that approach and getting that number now. So I think that's where we are, and I do think we will start to hear back soon as to whether this is possible. Now, the longer we don't now, from here forward, the longer we don't hear it's off, probably is a good thing. But if we do start hearing of alternative names, then I would start to worry, because sometimes that's how it goes. We may not get the pull-out brief. We may not get something like that. Again, I just want to state, that being said, if we get more reports like Sam Wallace's, then I would say that's probably means it's off, because that's kind of what I expect if it's not going to happen. I don't think that we were going to get some kind of like, oh, United bid rejected and they walk away from the deal. I think it would be more likely we would get something like, United are not able to or prepared to meet evaluation that Brighton are likely placing on him, and we'll look to a deal next summer. So if we get more reports like that, I would tend to worry. But as of now, not yet. Let's see what the tomorrow brings. I think, again, we'll get some movement on the Hojlund front in the coming days, and I think it'll be very, very clear that we're not going to play Hojlund at the weekend. I think Šeško's going to start. It looks like Xerxes back and fully going. So if you think about the squad, and we'll do this on Friday, you get your 11, but off the bench you probably have Menu, Ugarte, or Casemiro, 2 keepers, Xerxes, Mount, Mazraoui, well, maybe Mazraoui? Don't know. Dallo, Heaven or Shaw, De Ligt or Maguire, Diego Leon. There's no space for Rasmus Hojlund in there, because you could still add like maybe Mazraoui into that, So yeah. Anyway, that would be the case. I don't know if we did that closed doors friendly, but I'm pretty sure that we're gonna see the guys we want to start in that up front at least. So yeah, I think it'll become more clear. And then I think once we've left Garnacho out of a squad, Chelsea are going to use that to try to leverage the deal a little bit lower and make a move on that front. I really don't want to. Yeah, the Casemiro thing confuses me still, because he's clearly not a part of the future. So should we not, one way or another, should we not stop playing him at some point here? Like, he's gonna leave. He could leave this year still even, but he's definitely leaving next summer. Why do we keep playing him? It's not building for the future. That's the one I just don't get. That's the one I just can't help but disagree with. And I thought that it was obviously I said it was a really poor decision in the EL final as well, and it was. It was. I know how people feel about our midfield options, but I just don't think it has any benefit to us, honestly. I don't think it helps us build the right way. I just don't think it helps us. I hope he doesn't start. It's just we've never seen any other combination that includes Bruno in the midfield to start the game in preseason. We did last year. We saw Bruno partnered with Kabi, and we saw Bruno partnered with Ugarte a few times last year, and actually had a good win rate. In fact, hold on. Let me open this again, because I think I have this data saved somewhere. My breakdown. Last year, Ugarte and Bruno played 10 games, won 6, lost 3, drew 1. That's pretty good. It's not bad enough to not do it again. I still don't understand this. Casemiro and Ugarte had 7 wins, 1 draw. No, 7 wins, 1 loss, 4 draws. That's just over 2 points per game. Bruno Ugarte had 6 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw. That's just under 2 points per game. Casemiro and Bruno had 2 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws. That's 1.3 points per game. Why is that the midfield we settled on? It's the one thing, that I still look at and say, what the hell? It just doesn't make sense. I mean, the common denominator that people are going to deny is Ugarte. Both the Ugarte midfields were the better for points per game. Hard to accept, I know, but they were. Because of the options we have, he helps most. Why did we settle on the one that only got that got the lower points per game and lost the EL final? I don't know. It confuses me and I don't understand it. But that's the one thing that gives me some doubts, is just that it feels wrong, and it was wrong. Casemiro Ugarte is probably the best balanced midfield we have right now. But if Bruno's going to be deep, then Bruno Ugarte actually did win quite a few games and was fairly successful. And they had some big games, too, from what I remember. But we'll see. All right. That's it for today. I'm going to end it there. Thank you all for watching today's video. I'll be back tomorrow, and we'll see if we have a video in the morning. But later on, we will bring you in to... I will bring you in to give your predictions. I'm not going to have everybody do 1 through 20, but I'm going to have you give me the title winners, the top 5, because I think top 5 is Champions League now, and the Golden Boot winner. That's what I'm going to have people give me tomorrow, and include where you think United will finish if it's not in the top 5. So be ready for that. Be ready to join. Other thing we're going to do is on Friday, when we do the team prediction and all of that, Friday or Saturday, I'm not sure if I'm going to make it part of the same video or part of a different live. I'm going to have people come on, give their live predictions for the Arsenal game on Saturday or Friday ahead of the game, who they want to start, what they think the score will be. And then again on Sunday, I'm going to have people come on as well right after the game to do your live reaction to the game, all of that. So we're going to try to do the fan channel thing via online, because I don't think anybody's really doing it in this way to bring on viewers and all of that. So come ready to be passionate about your team and give your thoughts and make a name for yourself, okay? Thanks for watching, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will see you later. Again, thank you all. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications on. See you tomorrow.